start exactly at 10. Just another 4 minutes. Yes, that's.
I can't. Hello, can you see me?
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Udit, we can see you and we can hear you. Okay. Just give us a minute. Actually, we will quick kick start actually, so that I think at least there are people who will join on time.
So you can share the PPT because I don't know what's the problem here.
Once I stop sharing, I think you can share it. Otherwise, I will bring it on actually. Once I stop sharing, there is a share option is there.
Yeah, it's not showing here right now. Yeah.
Okay. 1 second. I will allow you. Just let me just finish this.
I can't see you. Can you see me? Right?
I can see you.
I can't. There's some problem.
Yeah. Okay. I think Naveen and others, can you see me and can you see Udit?
Yes, sir. I can hear you and I can see.
Sorry, I can't see you guys. So
No, only Udit, you can see. 1 second. Actually, there's some other. Yes. Okay. Udit, we can see you. Everybody can see you.
good morning.
Yeah. So everybody can see you. Okay. So let's get started, guys. Okay. Welcome to the media and PR for startups. At another first startups this thing. So this is the first time actually we are doing online. Thank you very much for all of you to joining. I know that most of you are well versed with actually face to face for startups. We will not take much time. I just want to quickly walk you through. It's supported by the Niti Aayog and ICICI Security Specialists. Thanks to them actually. In case actually, if you guys are tweeting, use the hashtag hash NSRCell, hash first startups, and hash IAMB. Please take that. Yeah, just a quick intro. I think most of you guys knows me. My name is Keshav Reddy. I am a consultant at NSRCell. At the same time, I head sales and marketing at E2E Networks. Okay, that's a we will run actually from 10 o'clock to the 10:10 to the 11:30. We run the media and PR for startup. We have actually with us. Quickly, let me just give you the about the upcoming events. These are the upcoming events actually. We have on 26, which is on Thursday, we have a master class, which is regulations for the digital payments in India. This is focused on actually, especially the fintech companies. This is run by actually Aziz from the PSJ Law. That on April 4th, actually, we have a what we call it as a mobility for startups, future of mobility. That's again for startups one. It's from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock. We are getting the lot of speakers who will walk you through what's really happening, and given a current scenario, actually, how is going to impact actually. Post that we have our on April 10th actually, which is the it is not April 4th, it is actually April 10th, which is our FinTech Friday webinar series, which is detecting and fighting identity frauds with the behavioral biometric. One of the what is it, ethical hacker will be taking us through it. And we are doing an online startup jam with investors. Given a current scenario, what should the startups look for and everything, that's on the April 16th. We will give you the more details about it very shortly. I just want to let you know that we have just kickstarted a FinTech Startup Incubation Program. If you guys have any, what do you say, queries about the FinTech Startup Incubation Program, please write it to that nsrcell.fintech@iimb.ac.in. Yes, we do at NSRCell, we do provide a free mentoring. You can write it to the ideas at nsrcell.org, or you can go to the website and look into it. Before we go further, anybody have any questions around the NSRCell, especially incubation, mentoring? We are around. You can just drop the mail to us actually. Yeah. I will not take much time actually, so let me introduce our today's speaker, Udit Pathak. Actually, he is a founder director at Media Mantra. He will be taking us through the media and PR for startups.
Yeah, thanks Keswa for introducing me. Thank you so much for inviting me as a speaker as well. Now, just a brief introduction of myself. As Keswa told you guys, I am Udit Pathak. I am the founder of Media Mantra. Media Mantra is one of the fastest growing PR firm right now in our country. Right, we started in 2012. Today we are 7.5 years old, and we are the 9th fastest across the globe and 2nd fastest in APAC. Now, the reason why I'm telling you guys this is not to boast my numbers. The reason is the entire growth of Media Mantra has been dependent on startups, and startups have played a very, very integral role in terms of the growth of Media Mantra. So when Keswa told me, give this opportunity that, would you like to speak on startups and media? I jumped onto it and said, yes, definitely. I would look forward to doing this because startups help us to grow right now and reach whatever level we have reached so far. So coming straight to the point in terms of media and startups and PR and startups, right? So I will quickly want to take you through what PR is. First of all, the biggest question which is right now for a lot of people and a lot of apart from our industry, startups or.
Udit, do you want to share your screen? Try sharing your screen, or do you want to share?
I have shared it. That's the problem which I was telling you.
Okay, let me just. People, can you see?
I can't see anyone and I can't see you guys, so I don't want.
Yes, Keshav.
Yeah, can you guys see the Media for Startups screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so coming straight to the question, what is PR, right? Most of the people, cannot differentiate PR with advertisement. That's a myth which is there. Then, PR is people confuse it in getting media coverages. People confuse PR with just getting articles placed in media. But the answer is no. PR is not just only to get articles placed in media or getting media coverages. It is about how are you building a brand? How are you communicating with your stakeholders, right? So it is PR is communication with your stakeholders. PR brings credibility to a brand. Now, when I talk about credibility, what needs to be done is when you are communicating with your stakeholders, there are different type of stakeholders, right? There are one internal stakeholders, two external stakeholders. Now, internal stakeholders for any startup or any office or any corporate would be your employees, your internal employees whom you want to communicate with. And external would be your external bodies, like you want to get in touch with the investors, or you want to get in touch with your customers, prospects, clients. These are your external stakeholders, right? So PR does all this work in terms of communicating with both your stakeholders. Now, communication has to go, there has to be a stable communication which happens. So, for example, you can't have two different level of communication which is taking place internally and externally, right? So your internal and external communication should be straight. So, for example, if you want to talk about building up a brand, you should talk about it as internal strategy as well, and also the external. How are you building it? The positive sentiments towards building a brand. It has to be same, right? Your internal stake and your external stakeholders as well. So it is very, very, very important to understand, before signing up PR, what is your objective? Identifying your objective to make sure that the PR is happening. Your objective should be identified before. So for any client, your objectives are of 3-4 types, right? So for any startup, there could be, when you're launching up a startup, the objectives could be, immediate objective could be to raise funds. Second could be, when you have raised funds, your objective could be to attract more talent. Then it could be growing the customer base. It could be building the awareness and to also tell the brand story, right? So it is very important. Once you know the objective, and you need to define the objectives to your communication team and to your PR firm as well. So therefore, objectives are very, very important. So once you define the objectives, PR would come into the picture and make sure that the strategies in terms of the media stories are aligned in that manner. Now, I will quickly give you an example. So, for example, when we started working, there is this company called as Knowlarity Communication. That is one of the case studies which I will show you, but I will just quickly take you through that. Knowlarity Communication is India's biggest cloud telephony company right now in our country, right? So when we started working with them, their biggest agenda was to A, build up a brand, B, to make sure that the investor, the brand is there in front of the investor. So our strategy to build up the brand was to make sure that we reach the trade media and also reach the mass audience where their audience sits. So, for example, their audience was sitting in their audience were CTOs, their audience were CEOs. So we made sure that we are talking to them in a manner wherein we are placing articles across the publication which are read by the CEOs and CTOs, right? And when I talk about the investment, again, there were the pink papers. Investors read pink papers. Investors read startup platform. So we made sure that the stories are, or the articles were placed in media on those. So the communication was stagnant across, where we were making sure that things are happening, and where we were making sure that the stories are going in a manner that their target audience are attracted towards it. So that was one of the objectives, right, for them. So therefore it is said that the objective, whenever you are trying to build up a communication team, or trying to build up, reach to your target audience, or trying to hire a PR firm, the objective should be well defined in advance, and you should tell the objectives to the teams categorically, that okay, this is what I want to achieve in the next 6 months time frame, or this is what I want to achieve in next 1 year's time frame. So that is very, very important.
Hey, Udit, actually, you mentioned it's both for internal communication as well as external communication.
Yeah.
So can you tell me what? So I understand the external communication, but can you tell us what is for the internal communication for the PR?
See, internal communication is, so for example, when you talk to your internal stakeholders, right? So if I take an example of any startup, so for example, Knowlarity, I pick that up, right? So when you are building up positive sentiments with your external stakeholders, it is very, very important for any company to make sure that the positive sentiments are made internally as well, right? So for example, if in HR there are some goofers which are taking place, right, and hiring, we are and the other side of it, we are hiring, the stories are going out that we are hiring more people, and in internally, there are 4 or 5 people who are getting fired, or 10 people who are getting fired. This would be two-way communication, right? There would be a difference in communication. So this is not a constant communication which will happen. So internally, you as a company, you have to make sure that there is a communication which is stable communication. So if there is a positive story which is coming out externally, there should be positive sentiments internally as well. So as a communication team internally, which sits out of your office, should make sure that there are positive sentiments which are building up, because ultimately internal stakeholders are unpaid brand ambassadors of the brand, right? They will go out and talk about the brand. So therefore we should have stability in communication.
Okay. And you are talking about the objectives actually I got, but we are, as in a startup guys, we are always actually, it has to be specifically measurable. So can you tell about how is the people will set the goals in a specific measurable way?
See, for startups, for any startup currently, there are 2 ways to measure the goal, right? One is for a PR firm. PR firm would usually come out with ad value analysis and say that, hey, if this article got placed via advertisement in Economic Times, you would have paid a bomb. But via PR, a PR firm is just charging you a small retainer for 6 months, right? So that's one way to measure it. Second way is, when a startup reached toward 3-4 years ahead, to a level wherein they have raised to a level wherein they have raised seed funding and they're looking for Series A, their objectives are defined. They will come to us and say that, okay, in the next 1 year, Udit, I'm looking to raise funds, and in the next 6 months, I'm looking to attract more talent. So now, while doing that, the stories would come out in a manner wherein we are talking about raising funds, or we are talking about how is this brand building it up, right? So these are objectives which are defined, and they, when measuring this, we can say that, okay, these many quality articles came in defining your objectives. This is how you can measure as well.
Okay. So one question that brings up, actually, you said about so what is the difference between the PR and the marketing, before we go on to the other slides?
What's the difference between the
PR and the advertisement?
Yeah, so there's a big difference between PR and advertisement. So when I say PR is about building up a credibility. So and advertising is, you are buying up spaces in the newspaper, magazine, online stuff, and publishing what you want to publish, right? But on the other side of it, PR is, you are talking to the journalists, influencing them enough to make sure that the stories are coming out in media, right? So the difference is humongous. So wherein in advertising, you talk to the marketing people of the newspapers. In PR, you're talking to the journalist fraternity to make sure that the stories are coming out. And you are not paying anything to get your stories placed in newspapers. You are only paying a PR firm which is building up a strategy for you.
Kashish have a question.
Yeah.
So, Sir Udit, would you say that PR is a form of advertising?
Kashish, can you come again, I think?
Yeah. Would you say that PR is a form of advertising?
See, I would not say PR is a form of advertising. I would say PR is a form of a marketing tool. So I would see advertising is very different. As I said, PR is very different than advertising. So you can't compare, there is a difference, right? You can't say that it's a form of advertising.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can say it's a tool for marketing. You are actually, In advertising, you are paying a lot of money to reach to your target audience, but in PR, you are paying a PR firm to reach to your target audience, right? So for any startup today, it is very important that PR firms are lined up with the objectives for a startup during the initial days itself.
Okay. Yeah, Kashish, you have a follow-up?
Yeah. Also, so you mentioned about maintaining a stable communication between the internal and external stakeholders, right? But then in the real world, we mostly find that firms do not actually do that. Like what is communicated internally is not what is communicated externally. They mostly try to frame a good picture of themselves when communicating with external stakeholders, whereas it is the internal stakeholders which actually go through the entire pressure of building up the image or whatever is going wrong in the firm.
What's your question actually?
Yeah.
Yeah, my question is, you mentioned about maintaining a stable communication between internal and external stakeholders, right? Yeah, but then in the real world, that is not what mostly happens. Firms mostly manipulate situations and portray a positive image of the business to external stakeholders.
Yeah, so
Because,
that's what I want.
for
That's
instance,
that's what I said. It is very important to have stable communication. You can't have different communications, but because ultimately if an employee reach out to anybody else, the third party or your prospects, they might have a negative image of the company, right, which will impact you badly. So therefore maintaining a stable communication is very important, right? I know 100% things cannot happen, but at least try to achieve 95% of what we are trying to talk to the media, right? 90% of what we are talking to the media, sorry.
Yeah, Sagar, you have some questions before we. Okay, guys. Actually, the Jansi, actually, George, you said actually, can we have a questions later after the presentation? This was a request from Udit actually, and with the webinars, it's always better to be in an interactive. Otherwise, the monologue thing, even the panelists will lose the interest. I hope that. Okay. Yeah, so Sagar, you can go ahead with your question. Sagar or Gururaj? Gururaj? Yeah, I think let's move forward. I think there is. Okay, fine. I think we, Udit, people are suggesting, can we have a questions towards the end? Then
sure. But sure, as you said, I will quickly walk you through the presentation and then we can take the question. Or in the meantime, if you have questions, case where you can put 1 or 2 questions with me, because it becomes a monologue when we're doing the webinar, right?
Let me know when you want to change the slide. Actually, I think to that presentation, I'll just change it. Okay.
Okay. Now, the biggest question is, once the objectives are defined in PR, the biggest question which the clients come to us and ask is, hey, when is the right time to actually start PR, right? Because ultimately client would have minimal budgets. Client, when a startups are building up, they have minimal budgets in terms of their marketing, in terms of the growth plan. They ask me this question, when should they start PR? I usually tell them they should start PR. They should have started PR as of yesterday, right? Why? Because ultimately, when you are building up a brand, what is more important is that you are communicating with your stakeholders, right? So if I am a B2C company, for example, if I'm a B2C company and I'm selling mobile, you want to reach to your target audience, and your target audience are sitting out of the corporate, your target audience, depending on what sort of mobile range you are selling, right? So how are you reaching out? You are reaching out to your target audience via PR only, right? So for me, when you have a stable business model, when you are in business for at least 6 months to 1 year, and that is the time frame to start PR. That is the time to start the PR, because you know the objectives that, okay, in the next 6 months time frame, I want to achieve this, and in the next 1 year time frame, the macro objective is to reach this, right? So you should start PR immediately once you are 6 months in the system. in the business, right? So the bigger challenge and bigger thing is, how do you achieve the objectives, right? People come to ask us that how are we going to achieve? Okay, now the objectives are defined. We have got the PR firm on board. We have got the communication strategy on board. How are we going to achieve the objectives? Now we are.
Udit, one question. This is an important question to from all the startups. How to do PR at a zero budget? Is it possible to do PR at a zero budget? Because we are startup guys. We are actually lack of resources. Hiring a PR firm may be very costly, but how to do a PR at a zero budget?
Keswa, PR cannot be done at a zero budget at all, right? you need to hire a PR firm, or you need to hire a couple of people sitting out of your office to make sure that the PR is happening, right? The only thing which can happen is you can use the content and share it with your stakeholders in terms of whoever your stakeholders are via social media or via your word of mouth. But to be very honest, you can't hire a PR firm if you don't have budgets at all, because ultimately you need quality as well. You need to reach to the target audience. You need to reach to your objectives. So if you want to have quality, you need to hire a PR firm or get an internal communication team settling in your office. So that is very important. And with zero budgets, that is not possible. Sorry.
Actually, while going, there are a lot of questions are coming. You can answer them. Can you see the question answers section actually on your Zoom?
That's what I'm not able to see anything. Can you tell me what exactly is it?
What is the budget I should set apart? The budget is on target revenues.
Yeah, what is the question?
What is the budget I should set apart for the PR? Is the budget on targeted revenues? That's what.
No. So there are two questions to it. One is what is the budget? Budget totally depends on what is your objective and how much are you willing to spend in marketing, right? So your marketing should have a budget, and out of the marketing, the PR firm will take up the budget. Now, any good PR firm, any mid-level PR firm would charge you somewhere around. Just to give you a number, and this is I'm not saying that this is something which I charge, but as a mid-sized PR firm or a small or a medium-sized PR firm will start doing PR from 75,000 onwards or 65,000 onwards, and this can go up till 5 lakhs also, depending on what the objective is of a startup, right? Now the PR is not related with revenues which you are generating at all. Now, if I am a PR firm, it is my responsibility to make sure that your stories are coming out in media, and also my responsibility to make sure the content or the narratives which is going out is aligned with the objective, right? That is what is under my control. But sales or revenue is not in my control, but indirectly it would definitely impact the sales also. So for example, if there is a story which is coming out in Times of India, it's read by mass audience, you would automatically feel that the website, the number of hits on the website have increased, because if a quality article is coming in trade magazine or in media, that would indirectly lead towards the traffic of the website. Hello?
Yeah, you can go to I think let's finish the presentation, then we can come back to all the question answers. So we are at the screen of actually what I say is how is the media evolved and everything.
No, so first of all, my thing was that people come to me and say that how do you achieve the objectives, right? Now when you actually hire a PR firm, there are different tools which any PR firm today would use to reach the objectives. Now these are of different types. How are they going to? So everybody is aware of a press release, right? So this is one of the tools which a PR firm would use to reach to the target audience or reach that objective. The second might be the profiling. Now profiling. So since there is a topic of media as well, I will just quickly tell you about the profiling stuff also. If you today look at any newspaper like Economic Times, so I will just pick up Economic Times for example, there is a startup page which appears in Economic Times, and you would see that there is a quarter page story or a half page story which is coming on a particular startup. And that story is talking about where the startup started the journey from, where has it reached, what is its target audience, what are the expansion plan. That is called as a profiling story. Now, that story has come via PR, right? Because PR people know who is the person who is writing a story there, and what is the number, and there is a relationship which is already there between a journalist and the PR firm, right? So that's one of the ways to reach to your target audience and the objective. There is another way. There is a speaker opportunity way to reach the objectives as well, which everybody would be aware. You can go and sign up a speaker opportunity and you can talk about your company and you are reaching your target audience directly. That's direct reaching of the target audience, right? Then there are industry stories which are taking place. So for example, there is this COVID situation which is happening right now. Not a good situation to be in, but then there are companies which are using this situation as well. So for example, online industry is booming right now because of COVID. Everybody is sitting at home and shopping online, right? And now today also I was reading online that there is a boom in online industry, and players like Flipkart, Snapdeal, Big Basket and all these guys are enjoying it because everybody's ordering food and everything and they are delivering there, right? And these are the stories which are happening. So encashing in the opportunity is very important for any PR firm who is working with them, because these are the stories which are happening, and to make sure that the inputs are coming in, those stories are important. So these are industry stories. Again, this would help you to reach to your target audience and also help you to reach to the objectives. So these are 3 or 4 tools which any PR firm would use to reach to a target audience or reach the objectives of the PR. Right? And how will, once you have reached the target audience and objectives, how do you, what is the route? The route is media only. Now route, when I talked about profiling stuff, I described about that, how a profiling is done. I have described about how industry stories are done. So this is one of the route which any startup would use or any PR firm would use to reach the objectives. Right? So, and nowadays, if you actually look, your smallest and smallest of the feature, or the smallest and smallest of your service could be viral. Now, I will take you to an example of Snapdeal. I was working with them at one particular period of time in my career, and not directly, but I was working with the PR firm who was handling Snapdeal, and I was a part of a campaign. Now in 2010 days, 2009, that is around 11 years back rather, we were sitting with Kunal and we were having a meeting, and he was thinking of an idea to adopt a village, right? So, sorry? Hello? Keswa, did you say anything?
No, nothing. I haven't said anything. I said keep going.
Okay, sorry, I thought that somebody was asking me something. Okay, now I was talking about how smallest and smallest thing can become viral. So 11 years back, Kunal was trying to adopt a village, and he gave this idea to the PR firm, and all those things were done. We encashed that opportunity. We thought that this was the first time an e-commerce website, and at that point e-commerce was a new thing overall, right? Nobody was buying products and everything online. There was a lot of apprehension to buy products online. At that point of time, what was more important for us was taking media to the village which he was adopting. I remember there was this village which was near Saharanpur which he was adopting, and that village was renamed as Snapdeal Nagar. Right? Now that small thing which he did became huge success in media. Right? Wherein BBC came in, BBC got discovered, Times of India front pages, Fortune magazine got it covered, because at that particular time, Snapdeal was a very small e-commerce website. E-commerce as an industry was small. So therefore, it was responsibility of a media firm, the PR firm, which was encashed at that particular period of time. So therefore, it is very important for any startup to let people know what exactly they are launching as a product, and keep them abreast with any new development which are taking place. So please make sure to just talk to media firms, because they are an extended arm of your team only, and talk about everything which you are doing. Everything which you do will not become a story, but definitely which you don't think probably can become a story as well. So it is very important to let any PR firm know about the stories, about the new features which you are launching, right? So overall, that's how you reach to your target audience, and that's how PR firms work, right? Now, once you know the smallest of things, now the question might come in is why media routes through PR agency, right? So now that's also one of my key thing. Media only routes through PR agencies or communication teams is because media knows that if they reach to a particular PR firm, this particular firm would be handling startups. At least this startups would be, the firm would be handling 30 to 40 startups or 20 to 30 startups. Now, at any given point of time, if media is stuck with any quote from any player, they can reach out to this particular startup and they can get you, they can get you a quote from the startup, right? At any given point of time, a PR firm is working with at least 20 to 25 brands. They already have relationship with the journalist, and it's a give and take thing with the journalist, right? If a journalist is stuck somewhere, it is PR firm's responsibility to make sure that the stories which he is doing, the inputs which is required are given at a particular time, and it's our responsibility as a PR firm to make sure that clients' quotes are also incorporated, right? So that is why a media reaches to a PR firm a lot, and that is why a PR firm is needed. Yeah. I would just quickly, Keswa, that's about how PR and media would work. Now I have few case studies if you want me to walk you through the case studies, but I would be happy taking up the questions right now. Because case studies.
Let us go through your case studies actually, although that will be very important also people to understand.
Sure.
Once the case study is over, then we can just look at all.
Perfect. So as I was telling you, we came on board one of my famous case studies, Knowlarity Communications. So we started working with Knowlarity at a time in 2012 and 13 onwards, and we are still working with them. So Knowlarity Communication is a pioneer in cloud telephony communication. They started at a time where nobody was aware what cloud telephony was, apart from the trade. The mass audience was not aware. So our biggest challenge, so they came out with challenges that, okay, they want to raise fund in the next 1 year. They want to hire at least 100 to 150 more people in the next 1 year. They want to establish their technology. They want to hire more senior level people. So these were 3-4 challenge which were given to us. Now the biggest challenge was not this for us at all. The biggest challenge which came when we started doing media audits and media calling was that media was not aware what cloud telephony was, right, as a concept. Now I want to establish my client as a brand, but the concept which he works is not even aware in the media. Now media is not aware of it. Now what we started with contributory articles on what cloud telephony was. Now, contributory articles is a sign of an article wherein you write 500 to 600 words and dedicate that to a thought leader, and so that your spokesperson of a client becomes a thought leader, right? So our essential goal for the first 3 months became to establish the spokesperson of Knowlarity as a thought leader, and also to establish the concept of Knowlarity, right? So we went back to the client and said, this is the problem. We don't, the journalists are not aware of the cloud telephony concept. So our initial responsibility becomes to inform the journalist what cloud telephony is, and then we reach to our objectives. So once in 3 months that was done. When after 3 months we did a media audit and we asked them a question what cloud telephony was. My team did that, and people were aware about the concept. Then we slowly and steadily brought in Knowlarity communication. We started building up communication and narratives in the terms of hiring more people. We did press releases that, okay, Knowlarity is going to hire 150 odd people. Knowlarity is going to raise funds. Knowlarity is going to establish themselves in cloud telephony space. So that's something which we did. And and ultimately, after 1 year time frame, when we reached, Knowlarity was actually able to hire more people, was actually able to raise funds as well. And that became a huge success for us. So a couple of screenshots of the coverages is also which I have given to you guys, like how while I was talking about, we wanted to establish cloud telephony, how cloud computing can help entrepreneurs to grow their venture. All those stories came in, right? So it was important for us to make sure that the objectives were defined, which they gave. This was very, very important. And also to make sure that the concept was established. So this another objective came as a concept establishment also. Now today, in this domain only, if you actually look at, there would be hundreds of the companies which are working in cloud telephony domain, right? Because the concept was established and Knowlarity was established as a player, and there was another company which simultaneously was going as a competition, but then Knowlarity gained the entire limelight, reached to a level, they opened up offices across the country, hired more people. Eventually, whatever success they have had, 10% of that was given to the agency as well, because we were making sure that the narratives are going rightly and the positive stories were coming out.
Yeah, we can go to the next case studies.
Yeah, so next case study is Voila.com. Voila is into online jewelry, right? So again, they signed up. They signed up with us in 2014, I think, and the objectives were again clear. The objective was to raise funds in the next 2 years time frame. The objective was to reach to the physical stores because they were selling online. The objective was to hire more people, and they were a company which was based out of Jaipur at that point of time. They didn't have offices in Delhi NCR. They didn't have offices in Mumbai, Bangalore, any metropolitan city. Okay, now they came on board to us. So with a clear objective, we went to the media. They had only raised 1 crore at that particular period of time. Okay, with 10 to 12 odd people team. Again, wanted to hire people, wanted to do all those physical stores and everything. We started coming out with positive stories, and our basic agenda became to establish Vishwas, who was the spokesperson of Voila.com, as a thought leader in this domain, right? We started doing it. We started coming out with stories in Economic Times, Times of India, because we knew where the columns were and who the journalists was, who the journalists were who were writing and doing stories on these particular space. And we reached out to them, and we made sure that there were positive stories which were coming out, right? And our objectives out of in the next 6 months and 1 year time frame, we were able to achieve them via adopting positive story route, via profiling them, via blogger engagement as well, because in 2015 blogger engagement also started. So that is something which we also started doing, and eventually by the end of 2015, by the mid of 2015, they were able to raise 98 crores by they were able to achieve the funding of 98 crores in 2015. So that was a huge success. And then once they reached out to that number, once the funding came in, they started opening stores, physical stores across. Now today, if you actually see, they have physical stores across the country. They also hired Kangana Ranaut as their brand ambassador in 2015. So that was a humongous success for the brand and for the PR firm as well. And we were lucky enough to be a part of that success, and we were lucky enough to help them out to reach to their target audience as well. So that's about it, Keswa. That's about the case studies.
Okay, thank you, Udit. Okay, let's open up the
Thank you so
this
much.
thing actually. So there are a lot of questions actually. Can you see the Q&A session?
I don't know. I am not able to see anything right now.
Okay, so let me ask the people actually, whoever want to ask the question, please raise your hand so that actually I can, yeah, 1 second, sir. Kunal want to ask actually, Kunal, like, Kunal,
Yeah, can you hear me, sir?
yeah, Kunal,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can
please.
hear you. Yeah, Kunal, go ahead, we can hear you.
It really helped us out to understand in our initial phase. It helped us to understand that how a startup should definitely use the power of PR firms. So, sir, I would just like to understand if we are a C2C platform, right? And what should be our core strategy to help? So we are basically an on-demand help platform where we are trying to connect consumer to a consumer, right? So for any kind of help. So what kind of strategies for a startup like us can follow?
So what do you mean by consumer to consumer in terms of what help are you providing? If you could just elaborate a little bit on it.
Sure, sir. So we are called Helpify, and
Okay.
it's an on-demand help platform. Like basically, if you are a user in your 2 square kilometer radius, you can ask any kind of question, like from a local help to a social help, even to an emergency help, right? And the people nearby to your surrounding, because of having experience or because of living in that area, will have core knowledge about that area, and they could
Yeah.
revert back to you with the solution for it.
Hmm. Okay. So now you are a mass audience product, right?
Correct, sir.
Yeah. So your objectives is to reach to mass audience. Now, what is your media to be tapped? Your media will be mainline papers, right? You have got nothing to do with financials till the time you don't want to raise funds, right? Your media would be mainline publication. If you're starting out of India, it also becomes your mainlines in terms of the Hindi publications as well sometimes, right? Now, mainlines like Times of India, Hindustan Times, Mail Today, Tribune, Pioneers of the World becomes a very, very integral place. So your strategy would be to reach out to the target audience via using these main lines and making sure that the your stories are talked in these main lines only, right? Now your strategy, I could brief you with a lot of I can't give you a proper strategy in terms of what stories would come in, but again, the objective would only be defined when we are reaching out through mainline publications and the mass audience publications.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, who is this?
Yeah, this is Veena here.
Hey, Veena. Hi.
Just had small question. If you want to do a B2B specific PR as compared to a B2C, how would that be different? Especially in the context where the market is extremely niche, how would your PR approach be different?
See, B2B, we need to, if you are into a technology product, we need to get into trade magazines of technology, IT, and there are a lot of your customers who would be reading those trade magazines. And then there are dedicated columns which appears in publications, in financial publications on, on the concept of businesses, right? So we would be reaching out to those dedicated columns and making sure that the profiling is happening there. Right. So the B2C becomes mass audience. So in mass, you are reaching out to every publication, right? You are reaching out to regional media also. So if you, for example, you are sitting out of Punjab, your important publication in Punjab would become Tribune, because Tribune is a mass-led publication. Chardi Kala in Punjab would become a mass-led publication, right? But in B2B, when you know that this is a certain industry where your customers are sitting, there are dedicated magazines, there are dedicated tabloids, and there are dedicated publications for that industry only. So we will be making sure that the stories are appearing on those dedicated publications.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Praveen?
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, Udit. Good morning.
Morning.
I'm basically a corporate guy turned into an entrepreneur now. And what we did is we have taken over a very old brand which was almost dying down into medical device industry. Okay. So, but they had my survey was that they had a positive feeling in market, but they were not having any supply, and the owners were closing down. We took over. Now, in this kind of situation, how to rebuild brand? You think the PR how can help it, and what should we do it?
What is your objective? Why did you take this brand?
Idea was it is difficult to launch something new rather than rebuild the old one which has positive image in the market.
So they had, your first story, your first story should be revamping this brand, and with the new management. With the new management coming in, new ideas would come in and new products would be launched, right? The first story would be that, and you talk about your numbers. You talk about that. I'm just hypothetical situation. You are doing 50 lakhs as a turnover. Okay, in the next 1 year, I'm going to do 5 times 50 lakhs. So I'm going to reach 2.5 crores in the next 1 year. So these positive stories would help you to re-establish the brand, and also make sure that there are stories which are coming out as contributory articles for the on behalf of you, because there would be some, as you rightly said, you have done some survey on it. So going into medical, you would have some pedigree which you are enjoying, right? So why as an industry thought leader? So establish yourself as a thought leader in the domain, and positivity would definitely come into picture. Positivity, sorry.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Srinivas.
Hi, Udit. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hi, Srinivas.
It's a very simple question. See, we are working on a couple of devices, and we have some collaborations with us. Now, some of these collaborations become pretty important, and we just want to voice it in the best way via press releases or stuff like that. So how would you recommend, to get a maximum reach? Which are the media houses we can reach out to who have good coverage on startups?
On startups, okay. Now, your financial papers, all the think papers have good reach to startups, like your Economic Times has it, Business Standard, Financial Express has a startup dedicated page. Then you have got New Age Media, right? Your New Age Media would be yourstory.com, your Inc 42, your tech circles of the world, right? And then you also have got, applications, right? So all these channels have launched dedicated applications. Something like NDTV has launched NDTV Hop, right? So this is a New Age Media tool which is going really well. So we need to reach out to them as well. So all these dedicated New Age Media platforms and also startup platforms like Your Story would help you reach to your objectives.
Yeah, Nidhi.
And would many of them be paid services, or
no, that's what I said, right? These are not paid. You only have to pay the PR firm to make sure that the story is coming out. Now, why do you pay to a PR firm is because PR firm understand what sort of messaging has to go to a particular publication. So I understand if I am reaching out to Times of India, what sort of content has to go to Times of India, right? So because I have got a pedigree of my agency has been doing, and it's not me. As an industry, we understand what is going to, what Times of India as a publication would take, or what Financial Express as a publication would take, right?
Okay.
Yeah, Nidhi.
Yeah, hi Udit.
Hi Nidhi.
My question, you may have actually answered this in the previous conversation right now, but I'll still ask it. So if you belong to an industry which is probably not a focus, maybe of the mass media, say for example, I run an organization which works with senior citizens, right? And other than the critical issues like elder abuse or some of those gory things, very few topics which are positive I have seen are picked up by the mass media. We haven't been we have an internal PR communicator within our team who has been doing the media reach outs and all, but then the media is very selective in picking up these stories. So how do you change your tact and make sure that you are being heard and you're on a regular basis? Any advice on that?
Have you heard about a brand called seniorworld.com?
Yeah.
So that's a brand which we have built in over the past 3-4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so our strategy was pretty simple. Our strategy was we were coming out with positive content in terms of the contributory articles across the publication. And if you actually look into Senior World, the phone which they launched specially designed for seniors was covered by Rajiv Makhani, and he tweeted that, and he did it, and it was free of cost. Okay, so he didn't charge any money from us. The only money which we charged was from the client as a PR firm. That's it. So the question is, we were coming out with positive sentiments on seniors every day, and and we were raising up the need of the hour. Why are we launching this product? Because of the features which the product had, like SOS button and all those things, right? So we need to talk about positivity in media, coming out with contributory articles and talking about the concept as a whole and industry.
Sorry, if I may say this, but that may have worked because they had a product which was a differentiator. It was kind of something which was not existing in the market, so it got the trumpet that it needed. But then if you are in a service industry where you're working with seniors on issues like loneliness and social engagement, isolation, and those kind of things, which are very soft skills, right? Then how do you maintain the noise?
So you would, while venturing into this, you would have done some kind of survey, right? That what is the problem which the seniors are facing currently, right? And what is the service or a solution which you would bring onto a table, right? So that is the survey which needs to go out in media. So for example, I'm just taking a hypothetical situation. I have not read about your website or anything, right? I am taking a hypothetical situation that today you come out with a report which says that 80% of Indian senior citizens faces loneliness. And here we are, XYZ company, solving it via doing these things, right? So such kind of stories would help it, because and if there are any industry stories, any mishaps which are taking place, or any stories which are negative, you start commenting in those stories with positive sentiments, or do contributory articles on that. That would really help you as a brand.
Okay, can you elaborate a little bit again on the contributory articles aspect?
Nidhi, can we take it? Actually, there are a lot of people in
this. Yeah, okay, sure. All right, thank you.
I'll come back to you. Okay.
All right, yeah.
Kashish, and there are some...
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, so my question was, for instance, Mr. Praveen just mentioned about his firm. So the issue with them was their objective wasn't very focused. So if a firm like his approaches you with a clearly defined objective and a clear line of thought, what would be the possible issues your agency would then face to publicize their firm?
Which firm are you talking about? Because I've answered a lot of them.
So he turned into an entrepreneur, and yeah.
Medical device firm?
Yeah.
I did answer that, right? My first story would be talking about the positive sentiments, why are you coming? So the management has changed, right? I will talk about new company with new management. We will talk about that. We will say that the old product still is there in the market, but there's a new phase to it, right? I would talk about what are the plans of the new management. I would talk about how are you expanding the company? How are you expanding in the industry? What is the untapped segment which is there? Why have you joined in as a new management? So all those things I will talk about. The first story would be that, because from there, once the positive story is out, I can slowly and steadily talk about my products, and I can talk about the services which I'm offering.
Hey, I think before I give to, there are a couple of questions. I think people are not raising the hands, but actually I can just see the questions on the question answers. Okay. One is actually in-house PR versus actually outsourcing PR. What's your views on it? Can you hear?
In-house PR versus outsourcing PR. That's what you said?
Yeah. So let's say people want to recruit the PR inside actually. If we can hire 1 or 2 people instead of PR from.
So, in-house PR, so I will tell you, so when your company reaches a level when you're really, really big, at that particular point of time, you need in-house people, because the CEO gets so busy that they cannot provide input. And these are in-house people who would write content on behalf of CEO and get us approvals on a timely basis. A. B could be, these are people who would build in positive sentiments if your company is say 400 people, 100 people, right? But when you are a startup with 20 people, 30 people, 10 people, you need to outsource PR to a PR firm. The reason behind this is because PR firm would have different startups and they will get easy stories cracked for you, right? So in-house people would only be able to provide the content and also, work in tandem with the marketing as a whole unit. That's what they will do. So anytime as a startup, you should always outsource the PR function to a PR firm.
One more question, actually. If a startup is recruiting in-house PR, what might be his or her qualification that we must look for? And what is the salary typically paid for the beginners in the PR?
So beginners' salary would be around 20 to 25,000. But then that person would have not worked in any PR firm and would have not had a good relationship with the journalist, and they would not have a proper database of the journalist. But if you actually need a seasoned PR person to come on board, who has around 7 to 10 years of experience, that person would easily charge you between 70,000 to 1 lakh rupees a month for sure. A good person who has good inroads in media. Now that person will charge 70 to 1 lakh.
Yeah, Nisha, you can go ahead with your question.
Yeah. Hi, Udit.
Hi, Nisha.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi. So I am from a company called Turn Plus.
Okay.
And what we are doing is we have a swivel mechanism which will turn this chair, the bucket seat of the chair, and the chair comes outside the car. So this is going to help people with entry and exit problems from a mobility perspective. Now, I have two clearly defined segments for this particular brand, and this one is the people with disability who can't enter and exit the car and who need some sort of a level of independence to enter. And then there is an elder community which face mobility issues. Now, this particular product is patented, and what I am at a stage where we are just hitting the whole marketing and PR journey. We're just about to embark on it. And we face issues with awareness. Now, I want to understand from you, because the awareness of such assistive devices in India is so low, is it a good idea to go through the whole marketing PR campaign from a thought leadership and awareness through a slow and steady medium of PR engagement, or sensational viral campaigns which can essentially gather a large momentum of addressing a larger public out there? What do you feel?
See, it totally depends on you, right? How much time do you want to have? Do you actually have in your, are you a patient? Can you show that patience of that 6 months, 1 year time frame? Or do you want to viral your content via hiring bloggers, doing bloggers engagement and paying them? You remember the fact that any sort of credibility to your brand would only come via PR firms, via PR stories, right? While you're talking about the concept, you need to make sure that that concept is also established. So when you talked about this concept, this was a new one for me. I've never listened to this, right? So how would you reach to me? You would reach to me because via newspapers, because I am going to sit on newspapers or online media every day and consume that content, right? So that credibility would come via PR. And the time frame for me, if you actually ask me, I would say go for PR. And once the concept is established, once the product range is established, then do a viral content across.
Okay. One more follow-up question, please. So now if you're addressing a segment like this, which is predominantly disability and elder community, how would you approach it from a PR perspective?
I said, right, I will definitely talk. So again, elderly community, they are dependent on their kids, on their children. And what are those children, how are they consuming their content? What are they reading, right? So for example, if my father is 75, 70 plus, I know that now he is slowly and steadily stopping to read the content. He is only viewing, he's watching television or he's listening to radio, right? So I will make sure how will I get my stories placed in television and radios first? And secondly, their kids were sitting who are around 50 years or 40 years old, they would read content via reading newspapers like Economic Times, Times of India, and the stories would come there as well. So that there are equal opportunity of my product getting placed with my target audience there.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Udit.
Thank you.
Fahad.
Hi, Udit.
Yeah, go ahead, Fahad.
Yeah, this is Fahad from Argai. So we are working on a concept called responsible buying. The idea is to reduce plastic from the possible supply chain. So I would like to know this strategy where we can attract the leading FMCG brand to collaborate with us.
Udit, did you get the question?
No, I couldn't hear him.
Oh, okay. Let me repeat Udit once again.
Fahad, you can type the question. Okay.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of disturbance.
Naina. Naina, you can go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, Naina, yeah, hi.
Yeah, hi. Hi, Udit. It was a good session here. So I just heard Nisha on the call. She was on the similar domain that I was planning to ask questions on. Basically, we are developing mobility solutions. And the thing is, we've approached a PR firm in the past. And considering the kind of domain we are in, I fail to understand what should be my KPIs like for the PR firm. What should I expect, and when should I realize that this is not working for me, and how? I don't know what to expect basically of a PR firm for this kind of a domain.
Fantastic question, Naina. Because go ahead.
Yeah, this is my question basically. So what should I expect? Now I want to go and hire a PR firm, and what should be my KPIs, and when I should realize that okay, this is not working for me, and basically early startups, right? We don't know how this is going to turn out. So yeah.
Give a PR firm 6 months of time. First thing, what usually startups do is they get very impatient within first and second month of the engagement. Now, please understand, a PR firm is not doing a magic on a product, right? They are exploring media and influencing the journalists to do stories on you. Eventually, when you sign up a contract with a PR firm, the first 10 days goes in understanding the product and understanding the service which a company is offering, right? And also doing information seeding in media that, okay, this is what the company is doing and this is the PR firm who's handling this domain, right? So please give them a 6 months time frame. First thing. Second thing is, again, the ownership lies on you as well. How much time are you giving to a PR firm in defining the objectives also, right? You need to tell them, okay, these are my 3 objectives. This is one of the objectives which I want to achieve in next 6 months. Can you do this? If they say yes, please sign the PR firm. If they're not able to achieve it, that's the way you can evaluate a PR firm, right? They can only say that, okay, we will be providing you content in the similar lines, and the content would be designed in a way where you are able to achieve the objectives in the particular time frame. So understand and keep that in mind.
Okay, Udit, this is the question from the Fahad actually. So Fahad they are working on a concept called responsibly buy, okay, or buy, to reduce plastic from possible supply chain. Customers can order their online platform where they will refill products directly into the reusable container at customers' doorstep. What strategy helped to attract leading FMCG brand like Unilever to collaborate? So, yeah, so how do you get if it is a questions to the PR, how do you get an attention of a big FMCG companies? What should they do? You got the question, Udit?
No, I haven't. I have not understood it.
Yeah, I think you can read it. It's there in the chat. If you can access the chat, actually in the top it is there.
What's the name of Fahad, right?
Yeah, Fahad, the last chart. Yeah, meanwhile, let's Arun, you can ask the question. Actually, I am Arun. Aruna Raj. Okay, Sunil, you can.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Hello.
Aruna, yeah, Aruna, you are well. Yeah, Aruna, you are.
Am I audible?
Hi.
Yes, sir. So actually, I run my FMCG company, and I'm into millets. So mine is a startup firm. I just want to know what kind of PR would be useful for a FMCG company, because millets is currently in the trend, and the trend is just starting. And what kind of PR can be useful, and which PR firm would you recommend for a startup company like mine? Which is what we basically do is we have tie up with organic farms and FPOs across India, and we are sourcing the millets right directly from the farmers. So my motive is to make millets reachable to the common man. So I want to know how PR will be useful for my firm.
So coming to your question, which firm you should do? There's a firm called Media Mantra. You should definitely hire them. The second thing is, how do you reach to the target audience? Again, I think I am repeating this, but then it's a mass thing, right? You want to reach to mass, you need to reach out to publications like mainline publications and also the regional media who would help you reach to the target audience, right? Times of India, Hindustan Times, Tribune, Pioneer, Dainik Jagran, Amar Ujala. These are the publications which would definitely help you to reach to your target audience. That is very important. Again, now millet is something which is again, there are a lot of stories which are already happening in media. Please understand, if you type in millets and find it out, or organic and direct, people who are taking it directly from farmers, there are a lot of industry stories which are happening, right? So you should be a part of those stories where you would be emerged as a thought leader in the domain, right? Talk about millet, talk about this as an entire concept, and talk about this as a product. So that would really help you to establish yourself in this domain as well.
Yeah, Sunil.
Hi. Hi. This is Sunil. My question is, now these days people are cluttered with so much of information. Typically, information is overloaded. So the retention of a news over a period of time will die out quicker than it was earlier, some time back. So I mean, eventually what would happen for a startup like us is to keep oiling this for a longer time. But there's no definite length of time that we need to really be. I mean, it's all again proportional to what we want to achieve. But how do you, I mean, with clutter, so much of clutter in the media and content around, how do you see where we can, to what extent can we reach? I mean, it's a very open-ended question. I hope you got my question. Thanks.
Where can you reach? I
mean, the content and the content is overloaded, and there are people bombarded with so much of information, so much of news around. Let's say if I want to publish a certain news and a certain section of audience, it won't stay for long. What will happen is that information will die out very soon.
No, but Sunil, then you have to reach your content team has to come out with different contents and new content, right? You can't be giving the same content if it is overloaded first. Secondly, if your stories are getting published in media, then it is your responsibility or your social media team's responsibility to also viral that content, which is across present, right? So that content which is coming in publications can also help you in SEO. That content can also help you in digital marketing as well.
Yeah, but Udit, the question is actually, see, because consumers are bombarded, actually, my customers are bombarded with so much of content. How do I keep among this actually the content? How do I keep my day in, day out? How do I keep my content fresh and up actually? How do I keep my content alive actually continuously? Because let's say one day if I write one PR article get published, into 24 hours actually people forget it, or actually in a week's time people forget it. No matter how much what I say is amplification, I have done the same content, but people forget about it in a week's time. But how for me it is very, very important to be on the people's mind So how does the PR works here actually to keep it
right?
So
Right.
there's a media universe which is there, right? So for example, ET has done a story today. There are other publications also which will do your story, right? So we will have to get in touch with the other publications. So if first month ET has done it, second month BS has done it, third month Financial Express has done it. Now we will again on the fourth month reach out to Economic Times and make sure that the story is happening, right? So that there is a fresh content and we are keeping the content coming in every month. So therefore, a PR is an exercise which is done for a longer period of time. It is not done for 1 month. Within 1 or 2 months, you will never be achieved. You can never achieve the target as well.
Amit Chaudhary.
Yeah, hi. Wanted to know like what should be the ideal frequency for doing a PR activity. So for the startup.
Ideal coverages for doing PR, it should be around, to establish a thought leadership, it should be around 3 to 4 coverage every month for any startup to begin with. And if it's a B2C product, it will go till 10 as well, because you're reaching out to the mass audience and more than that.
Cool, thank you.
Sri Harsha.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah. We can hear you, Sri Harsha.
Hi. We come from a art company called Artbird, and what we have done is we have introduced a smart TV application for upcoming artists to host their art exhibits on smart TVs, and also to buy art from the TV platform. So that being said, it's a very new industry with very minimal awareness in the market. So my question is on 2 sides. First, I need to build awareness on the artist side, where the artists are made aware of this new technology that is available for their disposal. And also I need to build awareness on the art patron side, where they get to learn that there is art that they can see and buy from TVs. So my question here is regarding the mode of communication to these 2 different audiences. So should I be looking at hosting 2 different stories or 2 different contents and 2 different areas or platforms? What is the best way primarily to approach these 2 diverse cadres?
Hey, Udit, I hope you got the question. Hey, Udit. Hey, Udit, you got the question? I think you are. Hey, Udit, can you hear?
Hello?
Yeah, Udit, can you hear us?
Hello?
I think your volume is down.
Was I audible, Keshav?
We can hear you, Sri Harsha.
Okay.
Udit, can you hear us?
Hello?
Hey, Udit, can you hear us?
I can't hear anything there. I can only see attendees and panelists here. Keswa, I have dropped you a message. Can you look into that?
Yeah, one second. There is some one. Okay, I think you can't hear actually, but can you just check your mic actually? Okay, let me just actually.
Hello?
Yeah, just hold on, guys. Actually, I think he can't.
Yes, sir. Hello. I can hear right now. Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me, Udit?
Yeah, I can hear. Yeah.
Okay. Sri Harsha, can you repeat your question?
Right. So Udit, I don't know how much. Hello.
Yeah. Who's this?
Yeah, this is Sri Harsha.
All right. Yeah, hi.
I don't know how much of my question you got, so let me just repeat that from beginning. We have a company called Artbird where we develop applications for smart TVs, and this is an art-based application where people can host art exhibits and also buy art from TV So my question is regarding the two diverse audience that I'm catering to. One is upcoming artists from whom we want to have exhibits displayed on the TV platform. And the other audience is obviously the art lovers and art patrons who can see and buy art from the TV. So this is a very new concept with zero awareness in the market as of now. And if I want to build awareness about this product and its services, is it best to target them individually, or should I aim at promoting it as one shot with both the audiences covered? I mean, what is the best?
Both are different.
Right.
Both are different, and we need to have different narratives with both the target audience. One is people who will buy art. Now, people who buy art is not normal people. They cannot, who understand art only, they can buy, right? I don't understand art, I will not buy, even though there is a very good artist who's sitting in front of me, I will still not buy, right? So we need to reach out to people who are buying art in terms of understanding what their cycle, what they are reading, and also artists. So therefore, there have to be two different narratives which can go in two different media also. One is your trade media, and again, mass media will play an important role because you never know who is the artist. And second, the person who's buying art are people who can afford art as well, right? They sit out of good publications, they read good publications, they watch good television as well, the channels as well. They need educated stuff, right? So accordingly, the media will also vary from different objectives.
Right.
Yeah, RB, yeah. You can ask your questions.
And there is this company, Shiresa, called as Splat Studio. We do a lot of work with them. We are actually managing somehow similar things, which what you are trying to do.
Splash Studio.
Splat Studio, yeah.
Can you spell that for me, please?
SPLAT.
Splat. Okay, got it. I'll check it out.
Okay, RB, can you? Okay. Anyway, let me ask Kiran. Kiran, you can ask your question.
Yes. Udit and team, thank you very much. Nice session. My question is, a startup with a new idea, new business model, founded by an experienced founders, going to a PR can really have an advantage, and then can be in a really critical too. However, at the same time, the startups has a risk of failure, and then market is not yet been tried out, and then success has not been seen, or scale has not yet happened. So the failure is also the other end of the spectrum. So the credibility of the founder is at the stake. So what would be the right time for the PR, and how do you manage the volatility involved in this?
See, the right time to start PR is when you have, again, when do you define the objectives, right? The right time to start PR would be if you are in business for at least 6 months to 1 year time frame, where you have reached to a certain level, where you know that now you want to expand your entire business. So that's the right time to start PR, and you know you want to reach to the mass audiences and the target audiences. That's wherein you should start PR. Right? The failure of the business is not in PR's hand. Ultimately, it's going to be the founders who are going to talk truly to the PR firm and talk whatever objectives are and what do they feel, right? So therefore, once you know that you have a stable business, say in 6 months or 1 year's time frame, that's when you get a PR firm on board and try to expand your business, and when you want to expand the business.
Okay, thanks, Udit.
Thank you.
Sanid. I think I'm not sure. Okay, Sunil, you can go ahead. Sunil Puri, you can go ahead. Sunil, you can ask your question. Okay. One question. Udit, can you hear?
Yeah.
Yeah. One question from RB is actually: is there a mechanism to assess in terms of the quality and quantity of the influence of the PR effect, is there a mechanism to assess the influence of PR effort brings in? So how do you assess the PR effect?
I talked about it. I talked about two ways. If there is a quality content which is going out and quality publication, that's how you influence. That's wherein you evaluate a PR, right? And the second is a very old format, a very old method, which we also don't want to talk, but then this is a method which is going on from a longer time, is add value analysis. So for example, if you are putting up a story in Economic Times, say there is a half a page story which you're putting up, and you have done that half a page story from a PR exercise, that would have not costed you anything. Why? If you do a PR story, why you place an advertisement in an Economic Times half a page, that would cost you a bomb, right? So that's wherein you actually evaluate the performance.
So Dr. Vara is asking about how to measure the efficacy of PR.
Sorry?
How to measure the efficacy of PR?
Efficacy of PR, again, it's the same thing. If you are able to achieve the target objective which you have defined in front of a PR firm, right, in the time frame which you have given to a firm, that's how you measure it. You can't measure anything so for example, if the target is not achieved, then of course the PR has not done the work. They have not done the objectives have not been achieved.
Sanit, you can go ahead with your question. Okay, we'll keep the last two questions. Sanit?
Yeah, hi, am I audible?
Yeah, we can hear you, Sanit.
Hi, Udit. Hi, nice session. So, hello?
Yeah, I'm understanding.
Okay, so I'm working in one company, one startup called Arby. So Arby's concept is to reduce plastic or stop using single-use plastic from the supply chain. So what we basically do is to deliver a product at the customer's doorstep in reusable containers. So now most of the FMCG companies use single-use plastic for packagings. So what strategies should we follow to get these FMCGs to collaborate with us?
It's trade, it's B2B. You want to reach to B2B, right? Who's your target audience? Your FMCG. In FMCG companies, who are the people whom you want to reach to?
What is the buyer's persona you should reach to, Sanit? I think Sanit, this is a long conversation. Anyway, Sunil, are you there? If not, actually, let me give to Karthik. Karthik, can you ask your question? Okay, let me mute. Okay, there is a Karthik question is actually, they have a product called Fitness and You. It's a B2B platform for fitness clubs, which is a niche. Okay. First thing is we want to reach out to them to increase the branding and sales. So what should be the in PR, in terms of the PR, what is the thing? And the second is they want to raise the funds. So what should be they doing for doing this for these two? How PR can be utilized?
I think if I've answered this, raising funds, the target audience, it's out of financial publication, reach out to them, come out with stories. So I think a lot of questions which are coming are I've answered them.
Yeah, I know that actually. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, guys. I think Udit, thank you very much. Any other questions? I will be sharing the Udit's email ID and email ID with you. And Udit, I will be sharing your presentation also with the people. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you very much for taking the time out actually on a Saturday and sharing your this thing. Guys, thank you very much for joining us. A wonderful session. So we have for the FinTech guys, we have a masterclass on Thursday. On April 4th, we have a mobility for startups. Okay, please mark your calendars for these. We will send you the details. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.